Ladies and gentlemen, City of Jackson, West Side, and Jones annual pre-kindergarten graduation ceremony, Friday, May 18th at 10 o'clock a.m., West Side Gymnasium. Dr. Rodney Washington, guest speaker. Dr. Adrian Dorsey Kidd is the director. And our theme today is, the beautiful thing about learning is that no one can take it away from you, by B.B. King. Okay? We're gonna ask the audience to please stand. We're gonna have a prayer by Caden Adams.
Please bow your heads. Our Father, joy in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Kingdom come, thy will be done on earth. Give us this day our daily bread, and we forgive those who trespass against us. Lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. God is the kingdom, the glory, and the power. Amen.
Thank you. Please remain standing. We will have the Pledge of Allegiance. We want the audience to please join in with us. The Pledge of Allegiance. Okay, ready?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Okay, you may be seated. Okay, next on program, we'll have Miss Genesis Green with our welcome. Let's give Genesis a hand as she comes.
Welcome, parents, guests, and fellow classmates. Today is an important day of all our lives. We get to celebrate and show all our talents. Sit back and enjoy it. Thank you.
Thank you, Miss Genesis. Miss Genesis has been looking forward to this for months now. Every time she sees me, Miss Reed, the program. Okay, next on program we'll have the greetings by our very own Dr. Dorsey Kidd, who's the director of the Department of Human and Cultural Services. Let's give her a hand as she comes.
Good morning, everybody. Parents and grandparents, will you please stand with me as we salute the class of 2018. Woo! You all have heard from our distinguished mayor, and you also have heard from our CAO. Our CEO is also here, so I wanted to at least recognize her, Dr. Sophia Omari. And I would be remiss if I did not let our councilman bring you greetings on behalf of the city council in the city. Mr. Tillman, please.
Good morning. Good morning. You know, when you get my age, you reflect back. And I was just watching how the young people were performing. And I was thinking about when I used to go to the programs with my kids. Then I was reflecting and just looking at what my kids are doing today. One went to Mill South, majored in accounting. She's been with the federal government for years. One went to University of Iowa. He's in Los Angeles, California, working for the telephone company. And it's amazing how my grandchildren are performing. Because I push when it comes to education. The key to success. Parent and grandparent, do not seize the opportunity to make sure these young people are educated. They have an excellent start. And I hope that finish is more than excellent. But that depends. That depends on the support we give them, the guidance we give them, the roads, the paths, the highways, the airways that we lead them down. That's adults' responsibility to educate young people. Being an educator, I certainly will not see this opportunity to thank Dr. Herron for coming all the way from California to donate free a reading program for our students in Jackson, Mississippi. From her experience she had in the 60s, coming down to work to help us get our rights to vote and be a part of the great society of these United States of America. Let's give her a big hand. Now, I'm going to take my seat. I bring you greetings. From the City Council of Jackson, Mississippi. 7 strong that you elected, you voted to represent city government. And I hope we are doing the job you sent us down there to do. And that is to work with the mayor and his administration to see that we have things like we are enjoying today. Thank you.
Thank you so very much for those encouraging words. Okay, now we're at the section of the program where it's the presentations. And the first presentations will be from Ms. Tarvin and Mr. White's classroom. And they are here at Westside. So they're gonna begin with a chant followed by a reading entitled We Can Go by Ms. Kesley Schuler.
We can help you come to the party. You can go, we can go, you will go. Will you go? I cannot go. You will go. I can't help you. You can. We will help you go. We
Okay, and next, ladies and gentlemen, we will have a poem by Miss Jada Brooks, Black Child. Okay, Jaden.
Hey, black child, do you know who you are? Who you really are? Do you know what you can be? What you want to be? If you try to be what you can be. Hey, black child, do you know where you're going? Do you know where you really going? Do you know what you can learn? What you want to learn? If you try to learn what you can learn. Hey, black child, be what you can be, learn what you can learn, do what you can do. And tomorrow, your nation will be what you want it to be.
Thank you, Jada. Thank you very much. Let's give her another hand. Okay, now we'll have a song entitled It's Graduation Day. All right, go ahead. Thank you, Miss Tarvin and Mr. White, and boys and girls, thank you. Thank you. All right, ladies and gentlemen. Okay, we've only just begun. Now we'll have the presentations from Jones graduates, class of 2018. Miss Tiffany Towns' classroom. Okay, she'll have songs entitled Can You Count With Me? And I'm Ready to Go.
Look, Mom, I can count to 100. Can you count with me? Look, Mom, I can count to 100. Can you count with me? Grandma, I can count to 100. Can you count with me? Grandpa, I can count to 100. Can you count with me? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 100. Can you count with me? Look, Pop, count to 100. Can you count with me? Grandma, count to 100. Can you count with me? Grandpa, count to 100. Can you count with me?
The future's looking good to me. I'm ready to go. I'm ready to go. Yeah, the future's looking good to me. I am ready as I can be. Yeah, yeah, the future's looking good to me. I'm ready to go. I'm ready to go. Yeah, the future's looking good to me. I am ready as I can be. I'm ready to go. My time has come. I'm on my way. I'm really ready. This is the day. I worked so hard to make it so. Now I'm ready. I'm ready to go. I did my best. I made it through. So now I'm watching my dream come true. I'll bring along all I have learned. Now I'm ready. I'm ready to go. The future's looking good to me. I'm ready to go. I'm ready to go. Yeah, the future's looking good to me. I am ready as I can be. Yeah, yeah, the future's looking good to me. I'm ready to go. I'm ready to go.
Thank you so very much, Jones Center. Let's give them a hand as they go back to their seats. And next on program, ladies and gentlemen, we will have an introduction of our guest speaker by our very own Dr. Dorsey Kidd, our director.
Let's give our young folks another round of applause. That was awesome. And in recognition, although you all get to see the teachers that work with the children that's being promoted up, I want to recognize all of our teachers and ask them to please stand because it started at infancy as they build up to this period. So will our teachers please stand and you all join me in acknowledging them. None of this would be possible without the assistance from them and also the assistance from you all. Dr. Herron referenced the fact that 2/3 of the people today cannot read in America. That is not true for our graduates. Our numbers show that our kids are coming out either reading or will be reading by the 3rd month of kindergarten. So let's give that a round of applause. And for further housekeeping, if you all will, when your children take the kindergarten readiness test, if you all will bring the results back to their teachers so we could count them in. And also across the summer, don't worry about paying for daycare or anything. Your kids, although they're graduates, they're welcome to come back and spend the summer with us, and then you guys can take them out in the fall. I also would be remiss if I did not recognize the whole team that make this possible. We have a social worker here, Ms. Jasmine Thickpen, if you'll please stand. And we have supervisor for West Side is Ms. Jones. And at Jones Center, we have a new supervisor, and her name is Ms. Cooper. Please stand, Ms. Cooper. And as you all know, we have Ms. Grace Robinson and Ms. Jewel Reed, who is the coordinator and the manager for early childhood. We also have some cooks, but I think most of them are busy in the kitchen. Any of them in here? Okay, well, they're the ones you all will be saying thank you to afterwards, but they're there preparing lunch for everybody. So my charge is to introduce our speaker, our guest speaker. And let me say this about Dr. Washington. Dr. Washington was my instructor. He thinks he's younger than me, but he is not. And when I attended Jackson State, he was the dean of the early childhood program. And he chose to come out of the deanship. He continues to teach there. He's a professor there. But he chose to come out because he was getting excited about all these theories that he was teaching. He really wanted to see them come to practice. So he stepped away from the leadership role, stepped back into the classroom, and stepped into the community where he's doing all types of wonderful things. So before I bring him on, I want to acknowledge Buds. Will you please stand? I saw some representatives from Buds here. Will you please stand? Buds is an innovative program that we have. We were able to acquire a grant from SAMHSA, and there's a whole team of Buds that come around that's comprised of Mississippi Families for Kids, Mississippi Families for Allies, and the City of Jackson. And what we do is any type of early intervention. If there's anything developmentally, emotional going on with your child, we catch it as early as we can. We provide the intervention at no cost to you. If your child has not been screened, if you want them to be screened, just let one of the people here know, and we'll make sure that happens. So back to the introduction. Dr. Washington is an associate professor and director of online programs in the Department of Elementary and Early Childhood Education at Jackson State University. He operates Consultant Plus, a minority firm specializing in technical assistance, program development, direct services, and program evaluation. In addition, he has organized several Males of Color initiatives in local middle and high schools in the Mississippi Delta region and founded JSU Guides, guiding undergraduates through yearly support, a research-based retention program designed to improve retention rates for males of color at Jackson State University. Please join me in a warm welcoming to Mr. Dr. Rodney Washington.
Good morning. How are we doing? I love it. Don't you love these cap and gowns? I mean, it feels like a higher ed commencement kind of, you know, with the young people in here like that. I know that very few people come to commencement or graduation ceremony to hear the speaker, so I'm going to be really, really brief, you know, because I know everybody want to get ready to shout out, "That's my baby," you know, as they get their diploma. Am I right about that? All right, all right. So thank you, the Honorable Mayor Lumumba, his cabinet, our council members, everyone here in attendance for allowing me this opportunity to speak to you this morning. It is a privilege to be here because this is an amazing opportunity, an amazing developmental milestone for your young person today. I know it seems like only yesterday you were probably bringing them home from the hospital and they were just babies, and now look at it. They're getting ready for, as we call it in the country, big school, right? That's what we call it in the country. So I'm from the Delta. I grew up in the Delta, and I believe that, you know, it is about the investment that we put into young people. It's not about what they can't do, it's about what we believe that they can do and we encourage them. And so with that being said, you know, I know Mother's Day just passed, and I try to do something constructive on Mother's Day because I lost my mom early on in undergrad as a sophomore. By the time I finished my first commencement in high school, she was well into her chemotherapy. And I really didn't understand what was going on. But that would be the only commencement she would be able to attend with me. So these moments are particularly special when I see the parents. I was watching all the faces as they were doing their presentations. It's an amazing thing, right, to share this moment. But the important question becomes, what kind of legacy are you leaving with your child if you were separated from them today? What kind of legacy and things have you instilled and modeled in front of them that you know to be pressing that will carry them throughout their lives? Because that's not a question I don't think my parents asked of themselves early on. but having lost both parents early on, I would have several graduations that neither one would ever attend. So I understand the importance of these kinds of moments and what this means to the young person that you may not think will remember this day of you cheering in the audience for them, but they will. And that's particularly important. So I'm the youngest of 8. As I say, I grew up in the Mississippi Delta, and it's no secret my parents couldn't read or write. They could only sign their name. And so, but they instilled in us the importance of education and what education could do. It wasn't about what they didn't know and not being able to help us with homework or anything like that. They made sure that we did the homework, whether they could help us with it or not. And so it became important to us. One night, my mom gathered all of us in a room, which wasn't hard to do because the house wasn't that big. She got us all in a room, and she said, I only prayed to God that all my children could read and write. I didn't care if y'all finished school, but you got to be able to read and write. They were a product of their times. My parents went to the field. They had to pick cotton. So school was not as much of a priority as it was for them to work and contribute back to their families. So it's important for us, even though they left early on, we all thought as siblings that it would be disrespectful to their memory if we didn't do our best. That if we went to school and didn't try as hard as we could, or at least get a diploma, that it would be disrespectful to all the work that they instilled and tried to put in us to move ahead. So I say that to you to say, we can't knock all the naysayers that tell us all the statistics, and I'm a data person. I do program evaluation, so I look at data a great deal. And I understand the nature of it. But there are things that we have to look at that are intervening that happen in our communities and happen in the larger scope of our institutions that really sort of impede that process for our children really getting ahead. So the one solid factor that moves them ahead is that they need a solid support system, a solid, consistent support system. It is great to cheer and be in these big moments, but in those quiet moments at home when they're trying to read, or if you're encouraging them to read, or if you're making sure that they're learning. It doesn't take a whole lot to take a child out into a community and have a teachable moment. It doesn't take anything to walk down the street or go in the backyard and find some things that they can learn from, that you can instill in them. Things that are irreplaceable and priceless in terms of both memories and moments. And so I say to you today that I know that a lot of people will say, our children are less likely to do this, and more likely not to finish school, and more likely to be incarcerated. But they are more likely to be amazing if we believe in that. They are more likely to accomplish amazing things if we believe that they can, if we instill in them that they can. That I look at myself now, I'm sitting on the podium with the mayor, with the cabinet, with friends and colleagues that I work with at Jackson State that I have a great deal of respect from. We all went to different schools, but we all end up in the same places. And I think to myself sometimes, wow, but I'm the youngest son of 2 illiterate parents that one a carpenter and one a cook. And I know it's God's grace, but it's also the inspiration that they put in us that carried throughout their own time here on this earth. And so we have to take into consideration our own internal power. It is great to have support, but there is something that we can do for each other as a community to support each other and lift each other up that is amazing, that can really have lasting effect. I heard Pastor T.D. Jakes say once in a sermon that the most ridiculous thing he ever heard was they took prayer out of school. He said, how can you take prayer out of school if you teach your children to pray? I prayed about 4 times before I got up here because I didn't know the mayor was going to be here. No pressure, And so, and it's in these moments that we need to understand the big picture kind of thing and how we can push our kids ahead. I'm a walking testament to what can happen when you have the right support system. I had mentors throughout. I had people who reached out to me even after my parents passed away, throughout undergrad and the like. And they didn't let me fall back. It wasn't all my doing. And so, but there was a community, the same community that lifted me, the same community that surrounds these young people right now as they are in their academic regalia, very nicely, that we can all reach out and grab them and tell them, you can be whatever you want to be. You can do whatever you want to do. But it starts in these moments. It starts in these moments, and all I see in this room is possibilities, amazing possibilities that we can bank on as a community. And so I say to you, to everybody who contributed to these young people getting to this moment, this is the first of many. This is the first of many moments that they will have. Continue to keep your hands on them as they go throughout their academic track, through all the influences. They're gonna do some things. We all did, and let's be clear about that. We all did things in school, but their consequences are different now than we were in school. And so we have to look at it and understand that we have to be parents, not friends. And I like to be very clear on that because I tell my daughter the same thing. And, you know, and this is not something I spilled on my chin. That's great. I have grandchildren. And so I tell my daughter the same. You're not raising buddies. You're raising your children. And so those things that are cute now may not be later. Those things that we laugh at now and post on social media at 13, 14 looks like a totally different thing. And so but you can't change directions at 13, 14. You have to set that standard now and hold consistently to the standard, and then they know. And so I leave you with this as I get ready to go to my seat, is that there's a tremendous opportunity here. There's a tremendous opportunity here that's already off to an amazing start. All we have to do is hold to it, reach out and get the support necessary, and continue the path. Congratulations to our graduates, to the parents and well-wishers and everybody who supported this endeavor. Congratulations to you too. Thank you all.
Thank you, Dr. Washington. We appreciate you so much. And we do have this basket, which is healthy eating, to present to Dr. Washington. Let's give him a hand. All right, ladies and gentlemen, it's almost over. What we're going to do now, we're going to allow the teachers from Westside to present their diplomas to their children. So Ms. Tarvin and Mr. White, we're going to ask you to line your children right up here, and if the mayor doesn't mind, we're going to ask him to shake each one of the graduates' hands. How about that, ladies and gentlemen?
All right. Caden Adams. Kyslin Blackman. Jada Brooke. I need a mic. Give me that mic.
Traymar Jackson Ross. Alora